Hello and welcome to Westrail News, our Autumn 89 edition. In this program we highlight engineering, maintenance and design with stories that range from track level to the highest of high technology. We take a century-old train ride and even a look down a coal mine, so stay watching, there's something for everyone. Our first story today comes from the Eastern Goldfields region, but applies equally to our whole rail system. It's a story that the home handymen amongst us would be proud of. If you've ever tried to mend a broken plate with araldite, you'll see what I mean.
It's 42 degrees Celsius in the shade on a midsummer's morning, somewhere along the Kalgoorlie-Esperance line. The flies are in plague proportions, and the constant wind whips up the dust and sand, creating a furnace-like atmosphere. Anyone working today in this sort of environment would have to be extremely keen. But the Norseman gang and the Kalgoorlie Mobile gang are hard at work, because today is the perfect day for a unique rail maintenance program. Their technique uses glue to join rail fish plates.
The actual gluing of the joint takes a couple of minutes, the retensioning of the plates a couple of minutes, then dogging and shimming. It's a very quick operation. The advantages are that the joints are virtually maintenance-free after they're glued, like continuous welded rail, so we don't have to come back to that particular joint time and time again.
The innovative technique was first tested in 1982 in the Amory-Katanning section and is a two-stage process of first sandblasting surface rust and then gluing the plates together. It has now been performed successfully under actual conditions since 1984. The glue used on the rail joints is a commercial form of araldite, and it is now the preferred joining process, the alternative to thermite welding of joints. The gluing process is generally undertaken when the weather is near the 40 degrees Celsius mark to enable natural expansion of the rail in the heat. So it's a perfect day for rail gluing, and the guys from Norseman and Kalgoorlie will just have to grit their teeth and press on. And of course, pray for rain at the end of the day.
Wonderful stuff, and I suppose the guys wouldn't have to break for a smoko either. They could just simply take another sniff. Only joking, guys. And from the sticky to the tricky. When we say the civil engineering branch has a great image, we're not just talking about their PR. Graphically speaking, they're highly animated. Here's Greg Marsden with the details.
The civil engineering branch is responsible for all of Westrail's structural planning and design requirements. It is assisted by the very latest in computer technology, with its computer-aided design section one of the best in the state. The branch has assumed a pivotal role in the Perth urban electrification project, and its high-tech gear is helping gain a clearer insight into the aesthetics of the finished electrification scheme. System Coordinator Gavin Mayer.
At this stage, our involvement with electrification is with the production of plans and detailed backgrounds for station upgrading. Initially, we gathered the data from a combination of bridge proposals which we'd come up with internally, main roads, road design proposals, got it to the stage whereby we put it together as one model. And I guess the culmination of the production time of the graphics was our 25-second video. So if we have a look at that now, I'll give you an idea of what we did. Right. To produce the 25-second video, we had a total of 180 views produced on the graphics screen, each one of those taking in the order of 20 minutes to draw. Now that we've produced it and we look back at the cost of it, I could see a lot more of them. It's a very cost-effective way of producing a realistic image of a proposal for a client.
I wonder if it plays Space Invaders in 3D. Are you a multilingual employee? If you do have a second language, Westrail is looking for your help to establish a foreign language register to primarily assist our frontline staff in communicating with non-English speaking customers. If you'd like to express your interest, contact Joanne Eggleston in the Westrail Centre on 2701. The Midland Workshops is the location for today's viewers' video segment with coverage of their dog spike operation. The blacksmith shop turns out 7,000 dog spikes every shift, 5 days a week, all for Westrail's sole use. Dog spikes start out as 6-metre bars of iron which are taken to the furnace and heated to 900 degrees. From there they go through a device called the Ajax machine, which cuts them to size and shapes the head of the spike. After an overnight cooling period, they're finned and put through a pointing machine to sharpen them up for use. They're bagged and then they're distributed to all corners of our rail system. The humble dog spike, one of the many essential rail products that we manufacture for ourselves. And thanks go to Evan Walters from the blacksmith shop for his video footage. You may remember Evan from a story in the last edition of Westrail News. And as always, if you'd like to make a video contribution or simply a comment, please write to us here, care of Westrail Public Affairs. We'd love to hear from you. Westrail's major source of income is from its freight operations, and the top money earners have traditionally been bauxite, alumina and grain. But now coal is taking an increasing share of our workload, and the trend looks likely to continue as local industry grows and surplus supplies of the alternative fuel, natural gas, dries up. This edition's cover story takes a look at the coal operation and why this payload may become the success story of the 90s. Collie, the centre of Western Australian black coal production. The local producers, Western Collieries, mine approximately 1.6 million tonnes of the fossil fuel annually. Their biggest clients, the State Energy Commission, Westrail and Western Mining, consume the majority of the mine output. By far the most efficient and cost-effective method of delivering the coal to the client is by rail. And in recent times, coal transportation has gained greatly in importance to Westrail as the natural gas surplus dries up. This leaves the large organisations like SEQA looking for alternate fuel supplies.
At the present time, they say there is approximately 100 years of coal in Collie. There may be more than that. There are quite a few proven reserves around the place now and leases which aren't mined. We've currently got 3 underground mines and 2 open cut mines in operation. Approximately 6,000 tonnes per day going to various places like Westrail Alumina, Banana Power Station and Bunbury Power Station.
4 coal trains are loaded at the Western Collieries pit each weekday in an operation which takes between 1 and 2 hours per train. Their destinations vary, from the short 42-kilometre trip to Hamilton to the 4.5-hour haul to Kwinana. 2 types of wagons are used, the 19-tonne GH and the 50-tonne XG class. These wagons are captive to coal and cater for the quickest and most economical method of loading and distribution. The trains are hauled by D, DB or N-class locomotives, and loads of up to 2,800 tonnes are hauled with ease. The sight of these huge convoys in action is a clear demonstration of the power of rail. Westrail's coal business is now the 7th largest of all our freight work, and with the demand for coal increasing annually, this profitable area of activity will come to be relied on even more so in the future. And with me today I have Mr Tom Pearson from the State Energy Commission and our own General Sales Manager, Freight, Mr Ross Dawson. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you to the program. Firstly, Ross, how much has coal haulage increased in recent times?
From a task of 200,000 tonnes in 86-87, it is risen to the current level of 500,000 tonne per year.
Well, how valuable a commodity is coal to Westrail?
In dollar terms, around $6 million a year, or 10% of our bulk haul revenue.
Tom, why has SEQA returned to coal usage?
There are several reasons for the increase, Russell. The most important is the unprecedented increase in electricity consumption in Western Australia, the largest in Australia. In recent years, it's increased to a rate of 14% per annum. The other reason is that there's been an increase in industrial gas consumption and domestic consumption.
Well, what sort of daily tonnages do you use to, say, light up our city?
There's not much electricity used to light up the city, but as a matter of interest, the city is a very big consumer. The central business district uses 300,000 tonnes a year of coal to generate the electricity.
Well, SEQA is already one of our major coal clients, but can you see that requirement increasing in the future?
Yes, we expect that the requirement will increase. Currently, it's at a level of around 500,000 tonnes a year to Kwinana and Bunbury power stations. We expect that this will increase to approaching 1.5 million tonnes a year in about 3 or 4 years' time.
And Ross, what does the future hold for Westrail coal haulage?
The future is strong, Russell. From the peak of 1.5 million tonnes in 92-93, that will continue through to the year 2000, with additional clients looking to come on to coal as a source of energy.
How are we going to cater for that extra tonnage?
3 ways. One will be the return of the coal wagons from the grain fleet. The other is we are producing a multi-purpose mineral sands coal wagon for the Cooljaloo mineral sands project, and efficiencies that modern rail technology can give by better utilisation of rolling stock.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for appearing on the program. Time now for another story trackside. Here's Greg Marsden.
The proper care of track needs constant vigilance by railway gangs to spot areas of uneven wear and cracking. In particular, crossovers need frequent close scrutiny because they take a heavier than normal battering from traffic. When the time eventually comes to repair these crossing sections, a special process is required because unlike normal track, they are not made of steel, they are cast manganese. This makes them highly susceptible to weakening unless the correct welding procedures are used to mend them. A decade ago, this meant that complete sections had to be removed for repairs back at Midland workshops. These days, the gangs can repair the crossings on site.
Yeah, we grind off the hardened area, normally about 4 or 5 millimetres, and then you fill it up, as you can see here, with water. You must have running water to go through there. Got to keep the manganese as cool as possible while you're welding. Once you finish welding, you paint it and then you grind it off to the correct level.
In-track crossing repair, an efficient maintenance routine that poses much less disruption to traffic and extends the life of the manufactured rail crossing.
And now a word of thanks and congratulations to all our staff who contributed to the safe transport of the public over the recent Easter break. If you felt we were busier than normal over that period, you were right. A record number of passengers were carried over the Easter week, with an unprecedented 3,007 passengers on the Thursday before Easter alone. Compare those figures with our normal daily average of 1,300 passengers, and you'll agree we were busy. Every one of our 8 Prospector cars, our 5 Australind cars, and our 24 road coaches were very much on active duty. It was an enormous task, and well done to all those involved. Our final item today takes us back to the days when rail was not only the fastest way to get around the state, but also the grandest. With our story on the Great Southern Line, here's Bob Stewart. See you next time.
Late in the last century, the Beverley to Albany Great Southern Railway was officially open to traffic. The GSR was initially a private venture and provided an essential service to the region's new settlers, and was in fact responsible for opening up much of the state's southwest. To celebrate the 100th anniversary of those grand early days, Westrail, the Australian Railway Historical Society, and the Shire of Katanning organised a commemoration of the official line opening. A special train was assembled on which the Governor, Commissioner and other dignitaries would ride into the town of Katanning and commemorate the driving of the final dog spike.
What a wonderful occasion for the people of Katanning, and what a wonderful occasion for the people of Westrail as we join in celebrating 100 years of achievement.
And it says, presented by Westrail to the Shire of Katanning to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the opening of the Great Southern Railway, 1889 to 1989.
The train included locomotive XA 1405, once a familiar sight on the line, and original buffet and sleeper cars from the earlier years. The special attraction was a mobile museum coach, a converted express brake van from the year 1902. The celebrations brought back a flood of old memories, and that evening's staff reunion in the Katanning wool sheds capped off a happy and successful day for the visitors. Much of the discussion centred on the early days when Katanning and other GSR centres were a hive of activity. Those hectic days may not be evident now, but our line still provides the vital link through the fertile heartlands of the Great Southern region.